Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Hello Hair Pro podcast. I'm Todd.
I'm Jen.
And we are co-owners of Hello Hair Co.
Yes.
And now we're here doing a podcast.
We are.
This is probably going to be episode 3.
Looking like it.
Who knows what the order we put stuff out in, but what are we talking about today?
Discounts. Discounting.
Discounts. Where do you want to start?
Oh, well.
Yeah, that's why I picked you to start.
I think the first place. Oh, geez, I could go all over the place here. I guess let's go with emotional discounting because that seems to be what drives, I feel, the discount. That and projecting. I don't know if those goes hand in hand.
Sure. So why don't we even back up a step further? First of all, why are we even talking about discounting? It's
in my opinion, or
prevalent in this industry. It's everywhere.
Yeah.
For some reason. And yeah, give us your opinion. That's what the podcast is, right?
Well, in my opinion, I guess for discounting, it just, I guess I just don't get it. Like, I'm not sure where it is. I think people use it to, what they think they're going to do is lure in clients or keep clients. And I truly believe, and I teach this in our salon, that every client should be treated the same. And that's with integrity, right?
That's weird.
Yeah, I know, right? So like if you're going to discount one person but not the other, you're not treating them the same. And I'm just not sure why one deserves one and one does not. Just like people will say, like, I have a last minute opening, get 20% off for this appointment, only if you don't have an appointment. But what about all your loyal clients that pre-book with you, show up every 6 weeks on time, like just enjoy your time, let you be creative? They don't get a reward for that. It's only if, you have this spot and you're trying to fill it, and it's just not fair. So in that case, I feel if you're going to discount, do it consistently. Everyone gets a discount then, or change your price structure.
So that just becomes your price. And that's where I was hoping you'd go with that, is that needs to be your price structure then, if that's where you want your price to be.
Agreed.
Right?
Now, why not just say, I have a last minute opening, come fill it? Like, it doesn't have to be.
Right.
And that's it. It just,
sure.
We call it a pop-up appointment, right? Because it just sounds prettier.
Well, we stole that.
And it was more fun.
I stole that. It was fun. It is more fun.
Everything should be fun.
I steal everything. So I will say that we did discount our services
as a promotional
sort of pandemic. I hate talking about this.
Yeah, it was a period of time
pandemic
that we were trying to get in front of people. We did these mail outs and it had a discount in it, and we knew we were doing it for, let's say, 9 months or 10 months. And the goal with that was to bring people in, but we knew that it may not build the foundation of our base of clientele. We understood that there are those people that just want a discount and they're going to come in until we don't run it anymore. But we also believed in our product and our staff that they could form relationships with enough of them. And then at least people would come in and see our product and then hopefully tell their friends. And with that, mathematically, we would get people coming in the door.
Right. And at that beginning stages of that pandemic, when we were allowed to reopen, we pivoted and chose to do that because that's where the people were. They were at home and we had to hit them there.
There was no other way.
And they're really, I mean, I'm sure we could have just put out like flyers that were like, hello hair, but there was nothing to entice them to come in.
Yeah.
So we gave it a shot, and we had an end game in sight, which I think is important, because if you're just going to consistently discount everything over and over, that, like you said, needs to just be your pricing.
Yeah. Restructure what you're doing. And we were consistent with that, like you said, consistent with that program for a certain amount of time. And I believe in that. That was great.
Sure. Agreed. So you want to go into emotional discounting first?
Sure.
That's probably, these are all problems. All of my notes are problems, but let's just jump in. Mm-hmm. Emotional discounting. Why do we do it?
Because we feel like somebody's either going to give us pushback or complain. So somehow the answer just goes right into give them a discount.
That's reactivity.
Yes.
Right there. So that's coming from projecting.
Yeah. Like I said, it does go
thoughts.
hand in hand, right? And it's what you feel. It doesn't mean if someone's questioning your services or your price, it doesn't mean that they're questioning it even to be negative. The question just could be so that that's how they process it. Let them process that and just answer them with, this is what it is.
Right. Not all questions are
pushback.
It's just people trying to process and work through their own things, trying to figure out, if you're doing a price increase, for example, and somebody questions you, it's not that they're not willing to pay that price. It's they're just processing.
Yeah.
And we're humans, and that's how our brains work.
Absolutely. And to me, I would rather the client process it with me than go home and process it and have a question and never ask it and just not return. So if they're asking me a question, I'd rather be given the opportunity to answer it.
Agreed. So I have a quick story on projecting that works into
I have some too.
One of our core values, which is integrity. Mm-hmm. And so I worked at this business. We're not going to name any businesses, obviously. And it was a gym. And they had me go wait by the front door. I had a new client coming in. And I said, great. That's a great idea. I'm going to go wait by the front door, because walking into a gym for the first time is super stressful. It's overwhelming, and you're scared out of your mind. So I want to be there to make sure that person's comfortable and feels welcomed. And one of the owners looked me dead in the eye and said, I don't give a shit about how they feel. I want you to try to scope out what vehicle they pull in. If they pull in like a BMW, hit them for the 85 an hour. And if they pull in, in a station wagon or a minivan, I forget the example, be willing to do it for like 35 an hour. And I quit. Mm-hmm. Literally, I think that weekend I packed my stuff up and I was like, this isn't for me.
Yeah.
So, but that's a form of discounting. You're willing to do it at any price.
And I'll tell you, that is not just in the gym world, because I
see it here too.
Have
not here at Hello, but I see it everywhere.
A salon I worked at, I won't name drop either.
I'll say it. I'm just kidding. I don't even know where you're going.
Somebody I worked at would do something very similar, depending on what they drove or what purse they carried or how they presented themselves coming in the salon. And let's say, they were getting like a color foil hair blow dry. And that's one of those services that I feel like the price point can be all over the place. So that's why I use it. And
why is it all over the place? I don't want to get too far off track, but why?
Because some people would charge it as like a single process with a few foils. Some people would charge it as a single process with a partial foil. Some people,
so they don't have clear pricing.
Nothing.
Okay,
yeah. And checking. So it would be very easy for them if they're coming in and they look all put together. You're like, oh, they're going to pay single process, partial foil, haircut, blow dry all day, every day. And then the next person that comes in, depending on what they look like, they're going to get single process, few foils. And they got the same exact service, but because they presented themselves differently, they got a different price, which is so not right and so judgmental.
Interesting.
And I've seen that happen a lot. Not where we are. That's integrity is a whole other thing that we are proud of and pride ourselves on. But it's very normal.
So how do people avoid discounting?
So the first
say somebody agrees. They're like, you know what? I don't want to discount my services. I know that I'm worth this, but I'm struggling, and I've been giving out discounts.
So you have to have a conversation, right? Which is not easy. And I think that's the hard part, is the communication part. It's so scary to talk about money, or maybe it's not scary for you. It is for me at times, and it's not a comfortable conversation, but yet it needs to happen so there's clear path as to where you're going. So in that consultation needs to be budget. Like, you're booked for this today, and this is what my prices are. Are we comfortable with that? Are you good for me to go mix your color? And if they're like, whoa, I had no idea that your prices were X, Y, and Z. Okay, then let's talk about what we can do today in your budget. Or maybe you should be sitting in someone else's chair. Like, that's where you collab and collectively work as a team. But if you don't have a consultation, and we can get into price structure and all that too, but if you don't have a consultation based on budget, then you have no clue what you're doing. And then what I've seen a bazillion times is you literally bring your client up to the desk, and if you have a receptionist, you drop them off, you run
Dun.
to
Wrong.
the broke room, and you hide. And then you peek out of the corner when your client has left, and you're like, did they complain? Did they say anything? What did they say? Were they okay with the price? Did they rebook? Now, some people will just never complain. They'll just leave. They'll never come back. Some people will then tell their friends that, and then others will just suck it up, pay it, and that's where it's at. But if you had just said, hey, the services we're doing today cost X, Y, and Z, it's like you're forming a relationship that's based on honesty and integrity, and then you allow them to decide if that works for them. Then the next time they come in, if they want to add a service, they already know your base price. So you're like, oh, we're going to add on a partial foil today. My partial foil is this price. So we're going to be looking at this for your service today. Are you good with that? Now, when you go mix, your creativity level can skyrocket because you don't have to stress about the budget.
Correct.
And people love it. It might be hard for you to start that conversation, but every client will love that you have that conversation.
It's transparency and it's integrity, and everything comes back to that. It's just where do you want that stuff?
And I don't care how much money you have. Everybody has a budget. You could be a bazillionaire. You have a budget. You have a budget on what you want to spend, or a clear-cut picture of what you're leaving with, what that ticket price should be.
There are no bazillionaires.
That's not a thing?
No.
Oh, well, I just created it. Maybe there is one now.
You're projecting yourself to be the first bazillionaire.
Yeah, for sure.
Jen Bezos.
It's coming your way soon.
So I would recommend avoiding discounts altogether if you can.
Agreed.
It's easier than dealing with backpedaling. I think a lot of people, so at my gym, again, I had a gym, if I think I mentioned it in the first episode. So I had a gym for 10 years. And at one point we were struggling to bring in clients. So we partnered with, I forget the name of the company, but they promote you and they give you a good deal, or they give the potential customer a good deal, like a ridiculously low rate, like 50+% off. You get 1% of that. And then their whole stance is we get people in the door and then it's your job to keep them, which makes sense, except for the coupon chaser. And there's nothing wrong. I don't have anything against coupon chasers, but that's not your...
Or the person whose budget was at 50%. So now when it goes up, you're no longer in their budget.
Correct. So I had 20 to 30 new people come in, which was great. But here's the deal. When the gym down the street ran the same deal, they all left my gym to go to the gym down the street because they're just after that price point. Like you just said, they're not after the experience or the things that I offered or the years that I had.
Their values might be different.
Exactly. So that actually took away from, like you said, fairness from my clients that were paying full price.
Right.
Because now I had
and
an
loyal
influx.
And had been with you.
Correct. So now I have an influx of all these people that need extra attention because they're all beginners, and I'm taking it away from the people that are paying me full price, which I quickly realized was not my jam, and stopped doing that. So, which was a great choice, I guess.
Yes, it was.
So yeah, it was annoying. It was frustrating. And when you look back, obviously you can see things that you didn't see when you were moving through it. And everything seems like a good idea to get business through the door. But then afterwards, it's just like, oops.
Yeah, because you have to catch up from that.
Right. And I didn't want to push any of those people out, but they weed themselves out. I think I had maybe, I would say not even 10% of the people that came in stay. So maybe I gained 2 or 3 people out of 20 or 30, which I don't like those odds.
No, they're horrible.
Yeah. I like 80,
You'll never
90%.
be a bazillionaire with those odds.
No. So in the hair industry specifically, where let's circle back to where this is coming from. Why are people discounting other than their fear?
Right.
So their fear comes from projecting, which we touched on.
Their reactivity.
You assume what you can afford is what someone else can afford.
Correct.
Which is false. There are people that make more money or less money that choose to have more disposable income than you'll ever have, because that's how they choose to allocate their money.
Yeah.
What are some other causes of discounts?
So I have a story.
Uh-oh.
My client recently, she's actually getting married this weekend, which is really cool because it's been postponed 4 times because of that dang pandemic. But anyway, so she told me a story recently, and she's getting married fairly far away, so I'm not doing the hair for it. And she went for her wedding trial updo at a salon that she had never been at, but it's close to where her venue is, so this is where she was at. And she had said her expectations were low because people had said in this area they don't do hair like what she's been used to. So coming into my salon, our salon, being with me, those were her words. I didn't say that. I didn't say I was awesome, although I think sometimes I might be awesome. But in this case, she said I was awesome. So we'll go with what she said.
Should I hit the laugh track?
Yeah, probably. So she goes in for her trial, and she said from the beginning, she walked in, she was unimpressed by the way she was greeted, by the look of the salon. It wasn't clean. There was just so many things that she was like, I don't have any other choice. This is where I'm getting my hair done. So she said she had an attitude the minute she walked in. Again, her words. So the stylist is only, as they get going, the stylist had only booked 20 minutes with her. And she's like, this is my bridal trial. Like, I've never met you. I've never been here. Only 20 minutes. And they do this weird curling iron thing that she said freaked her out anyway. So her experience has just gone way down the tubes at this point. And she said, she's like, I was irritated. So 20 minutes in, this is where she's at. And she's like, I hate it. I hate this. So they go to check out, and the stylist is like, let's just call it 15 for today. And my client is like,
wait, dollars?
$15? My client even said that. She's like, $15? She's like, well, clearly you don't like it. I didn't have enough time for you. So you can just pay $15 for today. Now, mind you, this is the funny part. My client goes out to dinner that night, and
How
she's like,
long was the appointment?
20 minutes.
Okay, so I mean,
I don't even know where $15 came from, but whatever.
it's arbitrary. I'm just trying to make it make sense in my head.
It's not going to, so don't.
Okay.
So she goes to dinner that night, and now she's like, as the night goes on, everyone's complimenting my hair. So she's like, I realize I friggin' love my hair, and I'm going to wear this for my updo for my wedding. So now she paid $15 because somebody literally was like, well, I know you hate it, so just pay $15. And she decided she loved it, and she's going to go back and get her hair done this weekend and have that updo.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's insane.
That is,
Because they must have a trial updo price, and then they
or not.
I guess I guess you're right. Maybe they don't.
They might not.
Definitely not $15.
It could be.
I guess I'll have to do some research.
I'm not going to do anything for $15. It doesn't even make sense.
And honestly, our whole experience was awful, and that's not why people go to get their hair done. Just like going in the gym world, coming to a salon is a very anxious experience for new people. And they go in with trying to trust, and you need to give them that and the time. Like, she should have had a tour. She should have had that's another whole thing. Anyway, that's my story. So she got discounted because somebody decided that it just wasn't, I guess, worth it enough for her to pay any more than that. And she was planning on paying more.
That's crazy to me. Mm-hmm. Crazy.
Same Z.
So I see this topic that I want to bring up next is sort of the race to the bottom. And there's a great book called The Pumpkin Plan. Mm-hmm. Have you read that one?
I have.
Mike Michalowicz?
Don't remember that part.
Michael Michalowicz? I think that's his name, the author. And it is fantastic. So if you're a business owner or really anybody that wants to sort of wade through a little more, it's a really easy read too. I did
audio
quick.
And it was very entertaining.
I do everything on audio. True. I did that one on audio too. It talks about choosing your niche. And so I think being the cheapest guy on the block is never the answer, because there are so many people out there with more power to be that cheapest person. Like, for example, you're never going to beat like a Walmart. If you open a store, you're never going to beat a Walmart. They have too much of a head start, too much of a following, and far too great of resources.
And that's their
for you to tap into.
That's what they want to be.
Correct. And so there are those same organizations in the hair world. there are those places that are the cheapest, and you're not going to beat them. So what happens is there's that next level up, sort of the middle cheapest. I'll say, I don't know, I don't have anything else to say. So like a higher tier cheapest. It doesn't even make sense. But what happens is the place down the street does a discount, or they lower their prices. So now you lower your prices, and it's a race to the bottom. Mm-hmm. Nobody wins, because either way, you weren't beating the people that are doing it right. If you're going to be the cheapest guy on the block, that's cool. There's value in that, but you have to be able to actually be that.
Right. All the time.
So then there's the next group. And this, I think, far more people put themselves into this category than should. And that's luxury. Mm-hmm. Everyone that's not trying to be the cheapest thinks that they're luxury. And when you talk about luxury, or when they talk about luxury in the pumpkin plan, you're talking about actual luxury. Like those brands that when you walk in, they know your name. Now, I'm sure you know your name, but I'm talking about if you walk in to purchase a car for a luxury experience, they know your name. They probably have a mixed drink for you. They're
treating you top notch.
Yes. Their place is clean beyond belief. Not clean for hair industry standards, but like spotless. Mm-hmm. You know, there's some sort of service, like beverage service or whatever. Now, I'm not saying that in the hair world, if you serve your clients a cocktail, that you're luxury. So don't get me wrong. But I think people need to sort of take a step back and check themselves when they claim that they're luxury. It's the whole thing.
Agreed.
Think of the highest standards possible and be honest with yourself and ask yourself if you're meeting those standards.
100% of the time.
Like 100% of the time. Because otherwise you are not luxury.
Right.
And then there's the third group, which is where I think people don't want to be, but there's so much value. And that's just being the best solution for your target audience. Mm-hmm.
Which is the best place to be.
That's the best place to play.
Yes.
You do not have to be spot on. Your clients will tolerate mistakes. No one wants to make mistakes. But when mistakes happen, they're willing to tolerate that because you're the best solution for them.
For whoever that is for you.
Correct. For whoever that is.
Yeah.
So there's no race to the bottom, and there's not all this pressure to become the best, because by definition, there can be only one cheapest. And by definition, there can be only one best.
Right.
And best is not based on price. Best and luxury and price and all those things can sort of be played with a little bit. But I love that sort of middle ground where you're the best solution for your potential clients' problems.
Yeah.
Super
and that
simple.
opens you up to so many possibilities.
Correct. And you don't have to have that scarcity or that poverty mindset where if I lose, or, you know, if someone else gains clients, like if a new salon opens down the street, I don't have to freak out.
Right.
Because I know that I'm after a very specific client, a very specific avatar that we've built out.
And you're building that relationship with that clientele that is coming in for you.
Correct.
Agreed.
And like I said earlier, I think there's just so much power in that, because now I don't have to worry. The person that plays in that realm doesn't have to worry about the place down the street and have that scarcity mindset that I have to beat them, or if they do well, I can't do well.
Right. There's enough people for everybody to do well.
So many hairs.
All the hairs need to be painted.
I said that to somebody in a meeting. I was like, there's so many hairs. What do you... Honestly, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Where are we going next?
So I wanted to touch a little bit on kind of people's not menu structure, but how certain things are written in your menu. So what
I'm intrigued.
What I see that I'll say like and do not like. So I totally get on certain services, you need a priced upon consultation. And I love that as long as you have that consultation and you talk budget and you talk price. You're not just like, well, it could be this, it could be that, it could be this. You really need to hone in when you have that individual consultation, what that priced upon consultation truly looks like for that individual client. I love on a menu when it says, I ours gives a range at Hello Haircut. We do a range. But I love starts at, because even that, they're like, okay, I know that it's at least here, and that might play well in your budget. So I'm going to make a phone call because I know that this is maybe where I want to be. If you can give the range, even better, because they might be like, I see you charge up to this price. That's not mine. I want to be closer to this price. The one I cannot stand, and I don't understand, because I
know where you're going now.
I think it opens up this whole thing of that running away from the desk thing again, is just says, whatever the service is, price varies. Varies for what?
So
I
not
understand.
even a starting point?
No, just price varies. Price varies.
Market price?
Yeah, market value. You're buying a lobster. At least with a lobster, you know that they're going to come back and tell you what the market price is. But a price varies to me says like you don't even have a clue as to what that price starts at. And how should that client, that scares me. It scares me because I would never go to that place.
So as a client, when you see a business that seems unsure of itself, you start to question it?
I do.
Interesting. So we will definitely get into pricing structure in a future episode.
Yes.
And our pricing structure's simple and transparent.
Yeah.
As transparent as you can be.
It answers so many questions that I see in the hair world, and people are like, what do you charge for this? How would you charge this? If you can have
here's the price.
Yeah, like it's just, this is what I charge. Not this because I have extra bowls, this, that, whatever. It's just, this is the price. Now, if you add on other services, well, I'm going to tell you what then the price is within that. But I know what those prices are, and it's the same price for everyone that sits in my chair. Nobody gets a special treatment on that, and that's because I play fair. And there's integrity in that, and they all get treated the same.
I love it.
Me too.
What else?
I don't really know what else I had here. I really comes back to, I think, with discounting is if you can work really hard on that consultation, on a clear-cut structure for your pricing, and talk about budget with everybody. Even if they're longtime clients, if they're changing up their service, you got to talk budget. You just have to.
Of course.
Always. And if you can do that, at least that, you'll be successful. And then when you set your prices, or if your salon sets your prices, however you are, make sure you stand behind them. I saw someone, I think it was on Facebook, she was doing a price increase. So she had already talked to her clients like, hey, my prices are raising. And we can go over that too, but and this is what they'll be. So what she did was, because she was like, I'm standing behind my prices every day, because consistency, right? It starts to create that pattern. What am I saying here? If you do it enough times, it becomes just muscle memory. Like you're just doing it.
Sure.
So she, for like 2 weeks, wrote out all her clients that were coming in and how much they were going to be paying for the services. So this way, she knew at the end of the day, she had to check off each person so that she charged everybody the right price of what she was doing. So it was honest, it was consistent, and it was clear. And that's how she made sure that was her check to herself. And I thought it was amazing because she was like, I know that at the end of the day, this is where I should be. And this is my checklist of how I'm going to do that.
Very cool.
Yeah, I think so.
I think everything goes back to, in sort of wrapping up, everything I think goes back to that fairness for me. Mm-hmm. And why would this person get a discount because they were first to the party? And why would this person get a discount because they were last to the party?
Yeah.
It's not fair across the board.
No. And it makes it very difficult if you do have price increases or you do anything, because now you're like, who am I charging what? I got to look at their history to figure out what I charged you last time.
I don't have time for that.
No. And it's stressful.
It is stressful.
We're here to be creative. So the more you can be clear, concise, the price is your price, here's where it's at, then go be creative and do your thing. And do it well.
Very cool. Any other final words?
Don't run from the desk.
Don't run from the desk. So I think we'll wrap up there.
Yeah.
And hit subscribe, I guess. What are we supposed to say at the end of a podcast? Hit subscribe.
Give us your feedback.
Give us a rating. And we'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
Thanks for listening.